Hi everyone. I just wanted to jump on today and talk a little bit about Cleft bottles and just go through why they're different to a standard bottle and so why they work well for our little babies with a cleft. So with typical feeding or feeding from a typical bottle, I should say, or from the breast, from the nipple, um, baby needs two things to be able to extract milk efficiently and effectively from either the nipple or the teat. So they need compression. So that's basically using their mouth, so their jaw and their tongue and the roof of their mouth, the palate, to press against the teat or the nipple. And that helps to squeeze some of the milk out. The other thing that they need is suction within the mouth in the oral cavity. So the way they create this is by using their lips around the teat or the nipple and getting a really nice tight seal there. So creating a bit of a seal. And then the tongue or the bottom of the mouth and the palate, the roof of the mouth, create a bit of a wall or a seal as well. And then at the back of the mouth, they use their tongue up against the palate, so up against the roof of the mouth to create a seal at the back. So that creates a vacuum or a seal within the mouth, and that helps just through like negative pressure, helps to also draw out milk from the nipple or the teat. So with our babies with a cleft, they're generally missing that suction part because of the cleft. They aren't able to get that suction or that seal within the oral cavity, whether that's because of the lip and the palate or just the palate. We're not able to create that suction, and so they lose pressure, they lose air through the cleft. And so really what they're doing is they're relying on the compression part, which also can be tricky for some of our babies with a cleft, depending on the size of the cleft. If it's a really big cleft and it goes all the way through from the lip to the palate, sometimes it can be tricky for them to even get that compression part. They can use their jaw to press against the teat or the nipple, but they don't have anything really to press against on the roof of the mouth. So they're really relying on that compression. So the reason that cleft bottles work well with our babies with a cleft is because they help to create that suction. So all cleft bottles are a little bit different. They have a little bit slightly different features. And in another video, I'll talk about things to look for in choosing a cleft bottle. This is just a bit of a general video in terms of like the overall reasons why the cleft bottles work well. So but they all create that vacuum. So generally they'll have a little valve in them that creates that seal and creates that vacuum within the teat. So that all baby has to do is compress on the teat and get milk will come out so that they can hopefully feed efficiently and effectively. So that's one of the big things with the cleft bottle is that they will help baby to feed more efficiently. So each time, what we mean by that is each time they suck or each time they compress on the teat, they will get a larger amount of milk out than they will with a standard bottle or if they're feeding on the breast. So it means they're getting more bang for their buck, basically. So they don't have to feed for as long. So it also helps to reduce length of feeds because they get more milk out with each suck. It means that they're not having to feed for longer periods of time to get the same amount of milk out. It also, because of that, because they're not having to work as hard, because they're getting more milk out with each suck and feeds aren't blowing out to be really long, it means that they don't get as fatigued. That's one of the things with our cleft babies is that they can get really tired with feeding. It's a workout for them. So having a cleft bottle and reducing the feed times, length of feed time, sorry, and increasing the efficiency means that they're not burning as much energy while they're feeding, so they're not tiring as quickly. And then it means that they can front up and do it again in a few hours' time. They're not having that flow on fatigue across the day because every time they feed, they're burning more and more energy. And by the end of the day, they just find it really tricky. Um, the other thing, and again, this is all kind of flows on really. So, is that cleft bottles do support weight gain in our babies with a cleft because of those things, because they're not tiring as much, so they're not burning more energy than they're taking in. The feed times aren't taking a really long time. So again, burning lots of energy, and they're not working as hard with feeding compared to if they were on a standard bottle or on the breast. So they're not burning as much energy essentially. So it means that the nutrients that they're taking in from the milk actually means that that can go to supporting weight gain, and which has a flow and effect too to brain development and growth. So which is, really, really important. It's one of our biggest priorities in our baby, any baby. But then also with your cleft baby, it means that they're gaining weight well enough to be able to go ahead with surgeries and that kind of thing. Um, Now, because of all this, so all of this stuff leads to hopefully baby having a much more enjoyable experience with feeding. Feeding is less stressful than on a standard bottle or the breast. It's also less stressful for you as a parent or the caregiver because baby is able to feed more effectively. Baby's not working as hard. Baby's not getting as stressed during feeds. So for both of you, it's a much more enjoyable experience, which can also lead to reduced anxiety around feeding for parents, particularly or caregivers. That's one thing that our parents and caregivers of cleft babies report a lot is that feeding can be really stressful, and they become really anxious around feeds, which flows onto baby as well. So that's just a really quick overview on why cleft bottles are effective and why they're often more effective for our babies than a standard bottle or for best breastfeeding. And it can feel really overwhelming to decide to use a cleft bottle, especially when you had a particular idea of what feeding would look like, and that's different to what you would expect. But just a really important point is that try to remember that using a cleft bottle isn't a failure. It's a tool, essentially. It's a tool to support feeding. It's a tool to make feeding more enjoyable to support growth and development. So it's actually a supportive thing for you to use to help your baby to feed more efficiently, more effectively, more safely. I hope this was helpful. Follow along, subscribe for some more videos related to cleft feeding.